Welcome to the garage. Today we're going to be working on getting this carrier bearing off of the drive shaft. This is the last piece in order to get the drive shaft for the Riviera back in business. Now, the factory manual says that this slinger here is supposed to stay in place and that you're supposed to undo the clips. Well, you can get to the clips on this side, but I have yet to figure out how to get to the clips on the other side. So my options are to cut away the rubber, split the outer housing over the bearing, and then work on getting a puller on the bearing. But I'm still working on that. I'll let you know when I figure it out. So we're over here on the disassembly bench. I think my best option is to work on cutting away the rubber of the the carrier bearing. That's the part that isolates any vibration from the frame. So I think I'm going to cut the rubber away, and I think I'm probably going to split the shell here that's just on the outside of the bearing. I think that's going to be my best bet to get this off. Let me show you what's going on. Something interesting just happened. You saw me with a Dremel working on getting that cut. Well, I put a screwdriver back there and I was trying to pry the outer shell up, and the carrier bearing moved a bunch. So that means it doesn't have that much press on the drive shaft, which for me is a good thing. So I'm going to keep working this off a little bit more, and with a little luck, it's just going to pop right off. That right there, I'm going to call a win. There's the carrier bearing, and that slinger is supposed to keep dirt and junk away from this side of the bearing, so that way it keeps it cleaner, keeps everything happier. Now, I have to go through all the trouble of cleaning this out, which is going to take a little while because I know there's junk down the splines now, so that's fun. Either way, this is a good thing. I'm just going to do a quick cleanup real quick, make sure the new carrier bearing, which I have off over there, is going to work, and then I'll come back and do the final clean. So here's the new carrier bearing. It rotates nice, clean, and smooth. The other one has a little bit of noise. Don't know if you can hear that, but it's got some noise the new one does not have. So quick test of just setting it on shows me that we're going to be okay on getting this pushed on. Now I'm going to have to find something that's bigger than the shaft, but fits that, and going to push it on nice and tight. But first, let's do the final clean. Ooh, that moves smooth. Got the splines degreased. Trust me on this one. They're clean down in there, free of any debris. So what I've noticed is that the new carrier bearing, and frankly the old one for that matter, it's kind of a interference fit at best. So that means the carrier bearing's just mostly going to slip over this little bit of rock back and forth action. So I'm going to do that very carefully with the new one. I'm going to put a little bit of grease right here, because that's just what I always do. And I'm also noticing that the nut, which is right there, has kind of a surface that helps keep everything captive here. So this doesn't have to be a big press fit to do. So I'm going to put a little bit of grease on. I'm going to start working it back and forth to get it down. Bearings on. It spins so smooth. I am so happy this went together so nice. Now I'm going to put a large amount of grease in here, and I'm also going to come over here and clean up the splines for the other half of the drive shaft that's got both double cardans and such. So we're going to keep on degreasing. I'm sorry, I just can't stop playing with this. It just feels so nice. I know what you're thinking. Holy crap, that bench is white? Yes, it is. Because I had to do some final assembly on that, I didn't want all the grit and junk in the yokes and all the like. So I'm going to line up the dot that I have, which is conveniently right there on the top, and I made a couple of dots on that big heavy ring, so that way I can get everything reassembled and phased correctly, because believe it or not, the front yoke compared to the rest of the yokes is actually like 60 degrees or 20, some degrees, about 30 or so off from the rest of them. Most driveline shops will try and put everything in line and tell you that it's out of phase, but Buick built it this way for a reason. I'm not sure why, but they did. So let's put this together. With that done, now I have to go tighten the 1 7/8" nut, which is going to be a bit of a challenge because apparently I over-greased it and shot a whole mountain of grease back at me. But that's a good thing. That means it's thoroughly greased. So here we go. It's all back together. The nut is supposed to be tightened down to 65 foot-pounds. You know, get as best you can because there's not a lot of space, and beware of your fingers inside the double cardan because you'll smash them. Don't ask me how I know. But anyways, this side looks great. The other side is still rusty. Once this dries overnight, I'm going to flip it over and get the other side. But comment below if you're one of the people that actually waits long enough for the paint to dry. I know most of the time I'm not, so you know this is good by comparison. The paint on the drive shaft is dry. Let's go get this guy installed. It's getting heavy. So here we go. We're going to get that drive shaft put in. Remember, it has to go through the frame. Got to get the carrier bearing bolted up, bolt up to the pinion, and it's got to go into the back of the transmission. This is going to be fun. All right, so here we are. 4900 series, the Riviera, or 49,000, install 4-pinion flange bolts, torque evenly, 75 to 95 foot-pounds. I'm going to break out the torque wrench for this one. As you can see, the drive shaft has now been swallowed by the car, and we can only see a little bit of what is now a beautiful black drive shaft. But let's grab the keys, start this thing up, and see if it goes around. With the drive shaft torqued down, there's going to be some fluid left. Unless your drain pan is really clean, I wouldn't recommend reusing it. I've got about a quart or so to pour back in, but I'll know the fluid level when I start it up, let it run for a few minutes, and see what we're at. So, I've got the keys. Let's make sure this drive shaft goes round and round. All right, we're running. We're in drive, and the wheel should be turning. And that's that. I don't feel any vibration in the car. So we're going to go double check, make sure everything's tight. I'm going to run this for a little bit longer and check the fluid level. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.